Butler pick up their first series of the league championships and are looking to now make it a second in a row as they take on the University of Connecticut Huskies. I'm time late, and this is Whoops You joining you back for the EGF Season 4 League Championships. It's back to groups, and Butler's looking to be back in front as they've already cleaned out a fifth map against William & Mary.
Well, it's going to be a tough matchup right here, TTL, in my personal. You got UConn. We're coming in here ranked number 7. Of course, Butler ranked number 9. It's definitely doable, but like I said beforehand, definitely one of those matches where it's going to be a coin flip. I do favor UConn just a tad bit over Butler in this situation, but at the same time, Butler coming off that victory, that best of 5, they should be pretty warm, playing at that pace of play up there as well. So we're going to see if Butler can rise to the occasion and get a win over here over UConn, or is UConn going to go ahead and take it to them here in game number 1?
New faces for you. Daranut, Kaker, and I saw a last person, Anton. There we go. Sorry for it. Akashi forward, keeping things consistent here for Butler on that offensive pressure side. But UConn needs to be able to do the exact same thing William & Mary could do every so often, which was clear the zone and relinquish this Butler pressure early in the game. If they can remove that possibility of early goals, then they're in a good spot.
Yeah, not only that, but they have to, like I said before, just kind of start off, score first. They usually play pretty well when they tend to score first. Backed up to their own half, though. That's going to be a shot counted by Kaker. Morales going to save that one away. Still, some offensive pressure right here for UConn. The Huskies trying to capitalize on this possession, the first one of the game. They are doing a pretty decent job right now, backing up Butler towards their half of the field once again.
Morales shut down. They're not in a good spot there to at least throw off this Butler attack, but Anton now having to play recuperating defense does so fairly well. Second touch is there, but Akashi with their measured aggression will meet it in midfield. Kaker now picking up the mantle of aggressor here, but it is denied just the same. Daranut's shot is removed and sent away. UConn cannot keep this offensive pressure. Yeah, you have sporadic shots forward. Every so often you see an opportunity go passing by, but it's not something that's stayed consistent. Not enough for that shot, but what is a save in the back line? Kaker inside the goal will deny it. Craig only elevates the ball. Daranut's still looking for the shot, but Craig the second time around will deny just the save.
I'm still waiting for that save on the replay back. That was absolutely insane. I want to see how they got that one out. Somehow Kaker got credited for that one. A good shot, saved away though into the corner from Akashi. Both chances, I mean, both offenses here on fire, but the defense is pretty much the story, keeping this one 0-0.
Negating the early damage done in terms of pressure put on. Butler still allowing themselves to play fairly aggressive on this attacking side. Pash for Akashi, but Craig not far enough forward. Kaker misreads it, so is sent away, but Morales just elevates. Craig now looking for a shot of their own, straight down in front of the net, but Anton will deny. It would have hit off that top rope, but it didn't end up mattering. Craig still with the follow-up, and still with the pressure here for Butler. Even though UConn's denying pretty good chances, they're not giving themselves enough space to turn it into offensive opportunities.
Not only that, but some smart play right there from UConn as well. You saw Darren Nutt was the last person back there for UConn, had to utilize all of his boosts to save that one away and get it clear as well. Kaker moved up for that midfield boost, and then Anton actually had possession of the ball. It was taken away by Butler temporarily, but like I said, a smart play from Darren Nutt kept that one in favor of UConn, and then kept the defense or the offense at bay for Butler. But we see Butler knocking on the door once again. Anton from the corner misreads that one just temporarily. Morales gonna go ahead and clear that one. Kaker with a shot though from Craig. Kaker gonna save that one away. Darren Nutt once again just softly touching that one towards midfield, and Butler's gonna make you pay 9 times out of 10 for that one.
And consistently so. Craig does deny that offensive pressure building up. Off the corner, though, Craig now centering it. There is Akashi, but off the back wall it goes. A follow-up is denied. Good 50 to keep it away, but Craig still elevates and keeps the ball in the UConn half. Daranut back the other way, but Akashi still meeting them, making sure the pressure is relentless here from the Bulldogs. They are not giving up anytime soon. Craig now off the sidewall, centering pass of their own, but Morales is too far back and in the wrong direction to receive. Problems here still for UConn, but Butler is not capitalizing on this pressure.
It's missed opportunity after missed opportunity so far for both of these teams. They've had some chances. They really have, and You know, pretty much the defense has kept them out. Maybe a poor touch as well has kept them out of getting that first goal. We talked about how this matchup is a coin flip as well. Number 7 taking on number 9. And so far, that storyline is staying true. We could potentially see our first overtime here in game number 1. 40 seconds remaining, though. Darren Nutt with a big-time save on the goal line. Morales, not characteristic from the last series, but does get a good pass, though, from Craig. Akashi with a dime to Craig on the far right post.
Exactly what Butler needed to open things up. It only took them like 4 minutes and 27 seconds. Not like it's, 9/10 of the game or anything. And UConn having to play from behind, not even able to build up a lot of offensive opportunities, much less shots on goal, much less goals, period. And now they have to do so with, a tenth of the time they had to start off the game. Anton off the back wall. This is basically the last opportunity for UConn. If Butler shut them down, that's when they're starting to run into some problems. Akashi makes a triple touch, one off of Darren himself, but the save is still there. And Butler, looking to shut it down and make it a second, is not able to do so off that follow-up shot.
Final seconds ticking away, though, off the back wall. Akashi now, another offensive segment right here for Butler. Taking precious seconds away. Here comes Kaker. Last chance for UConn. All zeros on the clock. Darren Nutt up in the air. That one's going to be drilled by him. Up in the air still from Anton. Defense from Butler. You have to think how much boost they have left. Can somebody from UConn even put this one relatively close? That one's going to be killed, though, in front of the the blue box. Butler going to win the first matchup 1-0. And what a defensive segment. What a defensive favored ball game right there. So if you're a favor of the defense in Rocket League, then this one was for you.
Pitcher's duel, maybe? Not a baseball game, but I mean, it's the same thing. Let's be real here. Butler still showed up well, and their defensive side was good, but honestly, I'm a little surprised at how well UConn was able to consistently deal with the pressure. William & Mary didn't have the same notion where every so often, even when that pressure was building, they would have to give up goal just because nobody was there. Or Butler was able to find those defensive pins or bumps or occasional demos. But that wasn't really the case for the Huskies. You could see them consistently on the defensive side, just sending the ball away. Granted, they were playing reactionary defense, but it was pretty good defense nonetheless.
Yeah, I think it comes off of a couple of missed touches, I really feel like, for Darren Nutt. Like I said, had himself a decent chance to get a far clear and start to mount the offense there for UConn. But at the same time, just Butler just pounced right on them at that midfield line, pretty much taking over what they brought or what made them win that first series, against William & Mary, over to this game as well, trying to imply that to UConn, and it has worked out so far. Granted, they only got 1 goal here in the first game, so it hasn't been as productive, but still, whatever gets the job done at the end of the day, it still counts as a win. It doesn't matter how much you win by.
Win's a win. Goal differentials don't matter unless you're talking about regulation tiebreakers. Sometimes they may matter if you come down to group stage tiebreakers, but if you consistently win your group stage matches, you're not too far out of it. This is Butler's last first round of group stage matches. They did lose to Seton Hall 3-1. That was the first game on the mainstream. They then beat William & Mary. That's what we just saw. But now, after winning a single game against UConn, they relinquish a goal in just 38 seconds of time.
Yeah, and Darren Nutt heard me as well. He's like, I'll show you some productivity, whoops you. I'm going to go ahead and drill this one in just for you and give UConn the first lead here and their first goal of the series as well. Only about 30 seconds into game number 2. Now another kickoff as well. Akashi does save that one away. There's still a lot of time left on the clock, though, for Butler to get this 1 goal back. But if it's a replication of that game number 1, that 1 goal, that first team that scores, it could be enough for UConn to push past Butler.
Morales up, does miss, but the follow-up is there from Krigg, so no damage done on that one. Now follow-up for Krigg, across all the way, intended for Morales, but Anton reaches that off-ball defense. You brought it up in the first series. Off-ball defense to clear out passing lanes, removing the possibility of long-term damage done, and that's exactly what UConn was able to do. Read where the offense was and shut them down off the back of it. Morales clears out just the same, but the pass was still there and still is the pressure here for the Huskies.
Another chance right there for UConn to gain the lead. To add 1 more onto their lead. My apologies. Was denied, though, from Butler. This one's at midfield now. Akashi trying to fight back, trying to get that goal to equalize this one. Maybe even equalize the series as UConn trying to do so. Another shot raining through. Here comes Anton over into the corner. Covered up, though, from Butler's defense. This is just a back-and-forth matchup, a battle of the mind games, a battle of midfield as well. Some really good Rocket League, too. You know, you have to kind of... Oh! A close save right there.
Oh, no.
From the right side post. Kaker not going to find its mark.
Back-to-back mistakes and ones that could not be recuperated on either side. Darrenut set up well, but just barely misses. A little bit more elevation on that bounce than they were expecting. Morales, with very little boost, basically none at all, to be completely honest with you, is still able to help clear off the back of a 50. And now a follow-up. The redirect just barely misses off the top corner and is sent away. Akashi now the follow-up. Centers the ball just the same, but the redirect is enough to send it away.
Morales now, flip reset, trying to... Maybe, I was going to say, play some mind games on the back of the defense. He did draw out 2 defenders, though, with that little bit of a flip reset fake. That's a good pass towards midfield. Krieg trying to find Morales. UConn's defense standing so tall. Akashi with a gem of a pass down the goal line. Nobody there to receive it, though, from Butler. Still 2 minutes remaining. I feel like these guys have been going back and forth for longer than that. Both of these games kind of drawing together at this point in time, like we said before. Just such a good series. If you're a Rocket League fan, if you're a fan of the defense, this is the series for you.
Oh, and UConn making sure it's a series for them as they bring at least another goal in their favor and are looking to shut out this second game. Kaker able to put it away, didn't want to steal the goal from their teammate, also didn't want to make sure it was clear just the same. But the Bulldogs haven't been the greatest at playing from behind. Honestly, no team has, at least thus far in either stream. Butler, of course, against Seton Hall. Butler or William & Mary against each other in our previous series, nor either team here when the other team scores first.
Yeah, UConn's up by 2. That's all I ask for Butler to come back from. Not impossible, though. But the time is working against them, and you see a little bit of a mix-up right there, and that's going to cause another goal. Kaker going to pick up his second one, put UConn up 3-0 now in this favor. And that was just a ill touch from Krieg, passing it over right off the top of Akashi. It's unfortunate, but results to another goal there for UConn. So 3-0. Can they do this one? Can Butler come back in game 2?
I'm going to be honest, I don't think so. There's not been a single instance in which the losing team has scored 3 goals. And the only time a team has scored 3 goals in such a short time as this is William & Mary in the first 40 seconds of the previous series. Other than that, they're not the greatest of spots. UConn has been able to relinquish a lot of that defensive pressure, so an overwhelming amount won't shut them down long term. But if they're going to bring it back, that's a good first step to do so. Butler, bring 1 back in this second game of play, and at least bring the deficit down to just 2.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a good take right there from Krieg, who, you know, like you said, starts them off on the right foot for the comeback, and on top of all that, makes it more realistic, at least in the scoreline. The final 60 seconds now for Butler. Morales, smart play right here, baiting out 2 members once again of the defense. Gonna try to push that one back over into the corner. He does get the second touch, a passing play coming through for Butler. If they would have scored there, they definitely would have started that comeback. This is a nice back pass right here for Morales as well. Akashi gonna go ahead and drill that one up towards the orange half of the field once again. A wraparound pass. Anton in trouble. Morales, that one's gonna be a pass as well. Darrenut has to go up for it to take off that shooting lane. UConn, a little bit of trouble. Butler still trying to respond.
Ball across. That may be very... English is hard. That may very well be in, but it wasn't. Kaker does deny. Krieg across. Double commit there from UConn, so their defensive hold is a little weaker than usual, but Akashi couldn't get the follow-up touch. That should be it. UConn will be able to take this second game of play, and they do so overall fairly cleanly, all things considered, especially in comparison to that first game of play. They had some problems early on, but they looked good later, especially after gaining that first goal. Granted, the first 30 seconds were the only time they didn't score, but after that, they just seemed comfortable, and Butler couldn't do anything to come back from it.
Yeah, so far, it's just been a battle of scoring the first goal in this series with Butler. I mean, maybe that's just Butler Rocket League in general. Like, just score the first goal, and you're good to go. You win the series. But like we said before, this is going to be such a close game, a close series. Both of these teams pretty much playing just phenomenal defense, phenomenal offense as well, taking away just a lot of those chances. And on top of that, there's been just a lot of mistakes on the back of Butler, a lot of mistakes on the back of UConn. You can think back to either one of these games, game one, game two, and just kind of pinpoint a little bit of issues that either team was having. So that's how close this matchup truly is. As we hop into game number 3, the series is tied, but once again, we're starting off at who is going to score first. Is that storyline going to stay true?
Always a concerning point, especially here for Butler. If they can't score first, is there finally a way to bring back what is already gone? That, of course, being the lead. Morales finds a follow-up touch, but Kicker already delaying that momentum and shutting the ball away. Akashi ball forward off the back of a demo from Morales onto Darrenut. No goal, unfortunately, for the Butler attack. And again, they have to play recuperation type play. Morales looking for a flip reset, doesn't have the boost, doesn't need the flip, but also doesn't find the goal. A lot of doesn'ts and a lot of didn'ts there for Butler, especially in the last, 40 seconds in the entire previous game.
Yeah, but like we talked about, just another missed opportunity right there for Butler. I mean, is it Butler's fault or is it the defense of UConn right there? I mean, it's a little bit of a mixture of both. Butler had an opportunity. They had a couple of chances. They had the pressure. They had the boost control. And they just did not deliver in the end to kind of, solidify that goal for them. But at the same time, the defense from UConn still standing so tall. This could be a mistake right here from Butler. You saw Kaker trying to recognize where Morales was going to try to put that ball, trying to get the dunking play. Another shot coming through for Krieg as well. Going to be saved away from Anton. 3 minutes and 40 seconds into this ball game, or left in this ball game. My apologies. And we have ourselves a back and forth game, shot after shot going back towards both sides. Neither team finding the back of the net, though.
Shot into the corner. Akashi almost gets it back and does actually off the redirection, but still a problem here for Butler. They're not turning it into shots on goal. And no matter how many passing plays you can get, it doesn't matter until you put it in like that. Morales with Butler's first goal and anybody's first goal of this third game of play, putting them out in front early.
Yeah, that's a good play right there for Morales, but at the same time, Kaker had a chance at that one, declared off the back wall to try to clear that one away over towards the left-hand side. He just didn't make contact off the back wall. That left a layup practically right there for Morales. So good job by Morales to recognize, just pretty much be there at the right place at the right time. And on top of that, just get the goal under pressure. So Butler off to the start first. Can UConn score is the question. Are we going to see ourselves in overtime is another question. Is Butler going to win this series? I mean, this game right here. That's the other question. Only time's going to tell.
UConn, their first real gripe of playing against the wall. Obviously, game one, a concerning point, but it is only game one. You give this up, however, you're up against match point similar to what Butler was up against in our previous series, losing that third game, but having to come back in games 4 and 5. Not the easiest of feats, but it happened nonetheless. Now that real mantle may very well be put on UConn's shoulders. Akashi needed to save that, though, and couldn't get out in front, so UConn limit the damage and come back with a vengeance to tie things at 1 apiece.
Yeah, this is such a tough ask right here for Akashi on the rotation back through. Darrenut with the pre-jump read just pushes that one in for UConn. Nobody home, though, for Butler. Akashi was the last chance and just could not get the read onto it. So we have ourselves a tie ball game as we quickly pass this midway point in this matchup. Anton off the ceiling, almost connected. You saw, I believe that one was, I was going to say Darrenut, maybe Anton as well on the rotation back through, just waiting for that pass in the wings. Darrenut at midfield now. Pushed over towards the left-hand side. Can he get this pass over towards Kaker? Off the back wall we go. That is read and picked up by Krieg. Kaker, though, does respond. Oh, Akashi with a good takeaway towards midfield. A race back towards the defensive end for UConn.
Very close as well for UConn to clear that one away. Akashi back, gets a 50 down. That looks to be on goal. It just barely is. Goes bar down after nailing the floor. And Akashi off a gamble shot 50 pinch puts Butler right back into the lead.
That's the beauty of the Fennec right there. Wins a majority of the 50-50s over the Octane. That's why you see a lot of people kind of switching over to it. It's all about the feel, in my personal opinion, but at the same time, a lot of stats, a lot of people are saying the Fennec has a good amount of 50-50 wins versus a majority of other cars. Regardless if that's true or not, Butler does win that goal, I should say. My apologies. Butler is winning right now 2-1 in this matchup. Minute and 20 seconds left. UConn trying to get the equalizer. Maybe Butler's defense is going to concede a goal here. Maybe their offense is going to be activated once again to push them up by 2. And if that storyline stays true, we know that a lot of teams have not come back from that 2-goal deficit.
Kashi almost getting another pinch. Morales will have to be the one to send it forward. Final minute of play now kicking underway. Krieg forward is denied. Anton already on the back side of things, but Akashi keeping pressure on. And at a bare minimum, without even putting it on the goal directly, will at least send it in towards that corner. Follow-up here, goes off the ceiling. Morales will slow things down, but Darrenette will clear it away. But it's still Butler taking more and more time off the clock, time that UConn just simply cannot afford to give away.
Final 30 seconds here in game number 3. Series tied up 1-1. Butler trying to move on to match points. Can they hold on? UConn has other plans. They're trying to equalize this one, force an OT. Here comes Kaker. He has the giveaway. I was going to say he has the go-ahead goal, but just pushing that one over into the corner towards Akashi. Here comes Krieg. No boost to work with. Darren Nutt going to have to save that one away. Almost a huge read right there from Krieg. He had a little bit more boost. Maybe that one would have worked out in his favor. All 0 to the clock. Anton still has it up, has the flick as well. Going to push that one towards the net. Going to be denied, though. The door is shut on UConn. Butler do hang on, and they win this matchup 2-1.
They narrowly bring it back as well. Odd position, especially for them to be in, but they narrowly pick it up. And in the later stages as well, even after allowing UConn to tie things up, are still able to turn it into a game victory and put themselves onto match point. Similar situation that William and Mary was in our previous series, just inverted, where they're now in the driver's seat and can lead the series they need to do. The problem is, in every single game that we have played thus far on stream, the team to score first has won. And that was the same situation in the previous series. It was William and Mary in games 1 and 3, Butler in games 2, 4, and 5. Now, it's been Butler in games 1 and 3, and UConn in game 2. We'll see if they can replicate what the Bulldogs did in the previous series as we about move into game 4 and 5. Possibly 5.
Yeah, I was gonna say that as well. You know, this the first goal curse has just been living true so much on stream, and I mean, UConn's doing their absolute best they possibly can to try to come back and, you know, face that deficit. They had the two saves apiece per person right there on UConn, trying to keep Butler out of their net, but just a couple of poor chances on the offensive end from UConn that led to that one goal from Butler to catch them off guard pretty much for the most part. So a good job from Butler, like I said, to move on to match point. Now they have to get the job done once again. This one might result in a goal, and it's going to Akashi off the back wall. Somehow gets the second touch. Watch this one back.
Akashi gets the first touch, originally setting himself up for the second one we saw on the replay. But again off the corner, in towards the midfield, the pass, which was supposed to be a shot, into a shot that wasn't even intentional, and Butler opened up the scoring. I don't know how in the world they opened up the scoring, but yeah, they opened up the scoring. Sure, they take the lead in game number 4. Game 4.
What a first goal to start off right there for Butler. That was insane, and probably one of my favorite ones so far from the stream. But only 30 seconds off the clock, and you know, we still have a lot of work to do if you're UConn. They have to win this game. They have to tie this one up as well. Good job from Darren, just battling every single person right there on Butler to win that possession. Kaker in the corner, trying to battle against Krieg as well. That's a little bit of a mistake right there from Kaker. Krieg couldn't get the read. Here comes Anton trying to catch up to this one. Did pass that one up. Kaker denied by Akashi. The door shut once again. The defense from Butler just standing so tall. And look at Morales just going to challenge everybody towards the midfield with the 50-50 attempts. Just not afraid of anybody so far on the pitch.
Oh, and Akashi getting bumped away off the back of that 50. Krieg just barely misses their opportunity, but luckily enough bumps Anton away far enough to set up Morales, who's now looking for another air dribble-esque play, but is denied just the same. And Butler is, again, just trying to bleed time off the clock. Time is in their favor. The further it goes down, the less UConn can do about the lead they now have to contend with. And even though it's just a singular goal lead, the longer that time ticks away, the less UConn are going to feel comfortable enough to say, hey, we can bring this back, we have enough time on the clock, unless you score like that, as Kaker will tie us right back up.
Yeah, just a good individual performance right there from Kaker, but at the same time, Darren just wins that 50-50, Craig had to play the guessing game, the last person back. That happens in such a fast-paced speed. You know, the replay doesn't do it justice. You have to think about that in real time and what a difficult decision that was for Craig to try to go for that pre-jump read on the save. I do like that UConn's decision making, especially this shot right here from Anton. He's going to find his way in. That's going to be a bicycle goal as well.
Anton was bumped into that position as well. I was like, well, I guess I've been put in this position. I might as well make the best of it. Casual bicycle kick into the back of the net. Zlatan Ibrahimovic moment. And, most importantly, a UConn lead, as they will be right back out front.
But for how long is the question? Butler, in my personal opinion, has been playing just a tad bit better on the offensive end. They really haven't had too many chances so far in this ball game as far as offense goes, but the back and forth movement as far as sheer amount of pressure has been in favor of Butler. Morales with a little bit of an ill touch, just a little bit too slow up to the draw. Does pay the price though with his life. Gonna go ahead and respawn on the defensive end, so a little bit of insurance on the back end right there for Butler. Morales though, using all that boost to come up and make his presence known. He has been the leading scorer so far for Butler. Akashi just ringing off the top crossbar. That one through the smoke, gonna find its way in. There's the equalizer, and who would have guessed it? Morales is there to score it.
Morales trying to make sure that Butler stay involved and stay threatening for the Huskies. That's the first time a team to not score also has had a lead in a game as well. But the problem for Butler is trying to make sure they come back from this tied up scoreline and set themselves right back into the lead. You can see bump setup. Morales has this nearly empty net, but it goes bar down and away. The tornado flick doesn't work in his favor, and the unfortunate part of that is Butler had all the opportunities but overcommitted into it and now has a lackluster defense, luckily, up as Akashi descended away.
I want to watch that one back right there from Morales. I think he had time to just drive that one in. I'm not too sure, but at the same time, he went with the flick play onto Anton, who was the last person back. I think he actually did. He had time to just drive that one back into the back of the net. So unfortunately, like a missed opportunity right there for Butler. But a battle is still commencing here on the pitch for UConn and Butler. You see Craig bringing this one into the corner. So far, neither team really has had too many chances as far as lining up a shot goes. As I say that, Morales is going to try to rattle the cages with another one. Caker going to save that one away. Akashi with a dime of a pass. Morales not trying to cheat up on that one. So another missed opportunity right here for Butler. Just a little bit of poor positioning, but Craig once again trying to put that one in.
And Akashi on that pass ended up getting a second touch on it that Craig wasn't expecting, so they were too far forward, expecting the first touch to be the original attempt. A triple tap pass from Morales almost goes in of its own volition, but a masterful save on the back end keeps it away, only for the time being. Akashi making sure this Butler attack is not done just yet. This will waterfall down. Morales looking for a touch, a possible double tap opportunity, but it will not go through. Darrenut now back the other way. 45 seconds left, and we're down to still a tied up game, and another masterful save on the defensive side by UConn as it's Anton to play the ball off the back wall and into the corner.
Masterful is, I don't even know the better word for that one. I don't know how much boost they had to work with as far as defense goes. So Butler pretty much just had them on their heels at E as well and did not find the back of the net. So unfortunate for Butler. But once again, another missed opportunity. You see Darrenut does have the 100 boost. Here comes a shot from Akashi. Going to try to sneak that one in. And his final 10 seconds are upon us. Craig, wraparound pass. That one's on the goal line. Darren does come out just in time. Morales, no boost to work with. Does bounce that one. And we are indeed heading to our first overtime of the stream and a golden goal opportunity. Butler at match point. UConn trying to stay alive.
Nobody missed a shot. I think that was an open net. If anything, Morales was the only one that could have been back. But that's an opportunity for UConn. You may not get another one here in overtime. This is do or die for UConn as well. They've had some problems thus far. The shot forward, it goes off the bar and is sent away. Craig, the one to put it out. But Anton isn't done just yet. Looking for a follow-up touch is denied. Akashi will send it as far as midfield. Anton, however, just redirecting, trying to interrupt this Butler comfortability and send them out of sorts on this defensive side. Caker actually almost gets a follow-up touch there. Darrenut off the back wall as well, but Morales cannot get the ball away. Anton in an awkward position. It's Craig now to follow, but he's denied just the same.
I mean, even if Darren would have had, or Kicker would have had that follow-up touch, I don't think it was going to be enough because no one was home, no one was there trying to over-pursue on the UConn end of the half. So just another, like I said, missed opportunity for both teams, just a ton of them to count. But still, we find ourselves in this overtime matchup, over 60 seconds already into this one. And the battle has just commenced with trying to catch the defense off guard, trying to catch any little advantage that they possibly can.
He side flipped.
I was going to say that was a huge miss right there from Craig, but on top of that, another miss as well from UConn. Darren Nutt has the gather, has the boost. That one's taken away for Morales. Cleared away over into the corner. Akashi maybe has something. Morales, the low goal, pops it off the top bar. Craig, Kaker, going to be 1v1. That one's going to be saved away as well. UConn now have a chance to score an offense.
Finally bringing it back the other way. Darren, however, retouching it into the corner. The shot there, it misses.
Oh
Does
my
it? No, no, he missed. He self-saved. No, 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 I can't believe it. UConn had the goal, but they self-saved on the back end and did Butler's jobs for him. I couldn't even put it into words. That's how shocking it was.
Wow. That's all we can really say in that situation is just wow. Another missed opportunity, but guess who's knocking on the door now is Butler. Trying to maybe end this one, end the series in total. Akashi at midfield. Kaker with the takeaway. Akashi has to get this one perfect. He does. You see what level of Rocket League you have before you. The misdirects, the fakes, the reads, just the sheer amount of presence right now. Look at how Craig was not trying to hit that one. He knew if he would have, it would have been a giveaway in UConn's favor. Kaker now has to be forced to go up. This one's dangerous, and Morales is going to do it in overtime. 2 minutes and 44 seconds. Butler are going to win this one in game 4.
Good enough for Butler there as well, putting it out. Morales shutting it down and making sure that Butler go 2-0 here on the B stream and have solidified themselves as that second place team in Group 2. I don't think there's a way that UConn or William & Mary can bring it back, because at this point, Butler's beaten both of them. The only shot that either of them have is beating Seton Hall to try and regain that possible second position in the group.
Yeah, that was just absolutely crazy Rocket League right there, to say the least, in my personal opinion. UConn had a chance to tie that one up, to tie the series up, in my opinion, and score and force the 5th game, but just a huge miss. Like you said, the self-save, the own save right there in overtime. Still shaking your head as time to light. He can't believe it. And a little bit of a lucky break right there for Butler, but at the same time, like I said before, one goal is enough to push past a team. It doesn't matter as far as the goals go. It just matters in the win column. And this time, Butler is going to get their second win here on the stream, as you said, time to light.
Just had to bring it up again. I had forgotten about it. I was reveling in the Butler
How
win.
did you forget about that?
But you just had to bring up how the UConn team lost. Setting the stage now for Group 2, by the way. Seton Hall is clear and ahead, the favorites. Butler has done their group stage matches. They have lost to Seton Hall. They have now beaten William & Mary in 5, beaten UConn in 4, and then lost to Seton Hall in 4 in that first series back on the mainstream. The only game left, I believe, to play is Seton Hall maybe versus UConn or William & Mary, and then UConn and William & Mary to play up against one another. If Seton Hall is either beaten either one of them, they're done for the group. They do not have an opportunity to bring it back to 2-1. They're unfortunately gone. However, on the other side of that, there is still opportunities to bring it back for whoever still has to play Seton Hall. I'm totally not checking the schedule right now. I have no idea what you're talking about. William & Mary, I believe, is the last team. No, actually, both of these teams still have to play Seton Hall. So both of them, should they beat Seton Hall, then need to beat each other to bring it to 2-1 and possibly bring back their opportunities. Seton Hall is actually the only team between themselves and Butler that hasn't guaranteed their spot, even though they have already beaten Butler. Odd tiebreaker decisions, but we're going to send it to a break. When we come back, Butler gets an interview after their back-to-back victories that have guaranteed themselves a group stage and playoff berth.
That makes me feel like this.
work. Welcome back to the EGFC Season 4 League Championships. Time to light, and whoops, you joined alongside us is Akashi after that series victory for Butler. Akashi, just to start things off, a clean series victory for you. Couple scary moments, especially into OT in game number 4, but a win nonetheless. How's it feel to go up 2-1 in the group?
Yeah, for sure. It feels great. I do want to preface my bad for not changing my name. I think it's still Akashi in game, but I am Kai for those wondering. But yeah, I mean it's a great win. Like we knew going into today, like this was going to be a really tough group. Especially Seton Hall, who we ended up losing against. But the wins against William and Mary, and especially UConn, because we knew we had to beat them to basically secure playoffs. It was a great feeling to win.
And you guys did just that too. I mean, you barely snuck by William and Mary, so I want to hop into your head with that. Feels like forever ago for you, probably, with that close series as well against UConn. But what was going through your guys' head as you guys were battling back from behind? You had to win that game number 4 to force that game number 5, and then you guys just absolutely popped off and won that game number 5 4-0. So walk us through what was happening there at the end of game number 3. How'd you guys get your rhythm back, and how'd you guys get going again?
Yeah, for sure. First 2 games, like we played some really bad Rocket League. Like it was,
to say the least.
Yeah, to say the least. Like we were looking really bad, just double committing all over the place. Communication wasn't there. We knew we had to reset going into the future games to even have a chance to win in the series. But we kind of collected ourselves. Like we told each other, just play for each other, make sure to communicate. Let's win as a team. And I think it helped us turn it around, especially for game 4. And then in game 5, we were just feeling like super confident. Like we felt like we had our mojo back. We were playing kind of like how we did in the Seton Hall series, and yeah, we were able to close it out in pretty convincing fashion.
I mean, like I said, you guys did just that. You guys brought it with you as well over to UConn, and that was one of the biggest the factors, in my personal opinion, as to if you guys were going to win that matchup or not. Was if you guys were going to transition and carry that heat with you over to the UConn game. And in my personal opinion, you did just that. I mean, you guys played fairly well, I would say, against UConn. You guys won that first game. Of course, the second game got a little bit away from you, but then you guys brought it right back, from game 3 and game 4 as well, to just, solidify that playoff spot as well. Congratulations. And not only that, but just win in general. So, I mean, UConn, very tough opponent. You guys played pretty much the exact same against William and Mary and still seeing the same results. What was the strategy going into that UConn game?
Yeah, so we played UConn a lot throughout the semester, actually twice so far, just in the EGF regular season. We've scrimmed them before as well. We know that they're a team who really likes to control the ball, slow the pace down, and just play for 50-50s and kind of outplay from there. So we knew we just had to play super aggressive with our first man, like just make sure we're challenging nice and early, don't give them space, try to bump. And we've always had that game plan. I think it's worked pretty well. We had a lot of opportunities throughout the series. I think we controlled possession for the most part. It maybe should have gone to a game 5, considering that I think I think Anton saved one of their shots in overtime. But
You have to remind me
like...
too.
I'm sorry.
He's trying to forget about how that one was saved away, and we still. I want to go back and rewatch that, like how that one was saved. It was insane.
Yeah. Yeah, but so I think even with our game plan, I think even if it went to game 5, I think we could have taken it. But I'm glad we closed it out in 4 and ultimately, hopefully, made playoffs. Seems like it.
Yeah, I think the only way in which you do not make playoffs is if either William and Mary or UConn beat Seton Hall. Only one of them can, and then whoever does beat Seton Hall then beats the other of the two in the final game of groups on Saturday. But that aside, in the unlikely situation that either one of them beats Seton Hall, much less both of them or neither of them do, you guys have basically secured a playoff spot, if not a first place spot, at a bare minimum second, probably behind Seton Hall. Let's be real with each other here. How does it feel now moving into playoffs, maybe, to set yourself up for success further on?
I mean, it feels great. Like this is our last tournament of the year, basically. So we wanted to make sure we came out strong and got a good result. And I mean, the first part of that was just making it past day 1. So we know we're gonna have a lot more tough matchups ahead with who else is making playoffs. But ultimately, we're just having fun with it.
You set up well and you've looked good at doing it. Kai, before we let you go, any final thoughts from you? Any final shoutouts you want to have? Or really any final statements at all? The floor is all yours.
Thank you, thank you. Shout outs to my team, obviously. You know, they're working hard every week. It's been a joy to be with them throughout the semester so far. And going into Saturday, shout outs to my family, you know, my mom and my sister watching back at home. I think my dad's watching too.
Oh,
But if he's
sweet.
not, shout out to him. Uh, Shout out UConn. Like I know those guys pretty well. They're a great team. It's always fun to play against them. And then a couple more. Shout out Broseph, Mailman, and C-Mom. I know they might be having a little watch party for this series. So I think that's it for the shout outs. But yeah, shout out to all of them.
I saw
Anybody else? The
Broseph wanted
McDonald's
a fifth
drive-through
game.
worker.
I saw Broseph wanted a fifth game, so you're shouting out the guy that wanted you to lose game 4. That's all I'm
Oof.
saying. That's
This is
all
no
I'm
surprise.
saying. Before we move on, though, Kai, thank you very much for joining us. And to Kai's family, could you please remind him Saturday morning to change his Steam name? Please
You know,
and
just
thank
for you, I'll change it right now.
Let's go. All right. At least there was some convincing there. Kai, again, thanks for joining us, and congratulations on the victory.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, whoops. Before we move on, any final thoughts from our second series of the day before we move on to Delaware DePaul?
No, I mean, that was just a heck of a series right there for Butler. They got the job done ultimately in the end. I did bet against them in the second series. I thought UConn was going to take it to them. And then UConn, pretty much came out and luck wasn't on their side, I would say. Butler did a heck of a job as far as defensively goes. Offensively goes, they were really, really impressive in this matchup. And I think they really did their homework as well to, take it to UConn and make them pay ultimately, catch them off guard, I should say. So hats off to Butler. Congratulations to you guys for winning both of those games on stream.
Yeah, they pick up 2 in a row and set themselves up fairly well for playoff berth, only losing, 3, 4, 5, 6 games through 3 series. Not the greatest, but obviously not the worst either, especially when our games are as close as they have been. They will finish off groups 2 and 1. Their playoff berth, however, is yet to be determined. We're going to take a break. When we come back, is our third series of the day. It's Delaware taking on DePaul.